The coverage by Maariv in front of you confirms what is permitted to publish regarding the incident that occurred with the 51st Battalion of the Golani Brigade. This battalion, which lost its commander who was killed in this operation, entered as part of the 36th Division into a house. There were resistance fighters in the house, and after they withdrew, they ambushed the soldiers from behind. This was a direct maneuver against a battalion considered elite, as Golani is one of the elite brigades. Part of the house was destroyed, not entirely, directly injuring 5 soldiers who ultimately died due to delays in intervention. This has been confirmed by several Hebrew sources. In these moments, it was stated verbatim that attempts are being made to retrieve 5 bodies from under the rubble, a challenging task, as one injured soldier was transferred to the hospital with moderate injuries despite being unconscious. The injured were evacuated under fire, and Captain Itai Marcuzzo, whose death notice is posted on the Israeli Army website, was the commander of this battalion. The report thus shows that the commander of the 51st Battalion was killed along with others. At 10:30, a force from the 51st Battalion, along with its commander, entered an operation with the 36th Division to reach what was described as rocket launching systems. They entered a building and were hit by anti-tank missiles. According to another report, part of the building collapsed on the soldiers, cutting off communication with them under heavy artillery fire. 6 soldiers died instantly due to these developments. Thus, there is a significant escalation regarding this incident, as 5 soldiers, or rather 6 in total, died after communication was lost. 1 wounded soldier was later pulled out with moderate injuries. This was a direct maneuver led by the resistance fighters. Despite claims of confronting 3 resistance fighters, the reality shows that around 20 soldiers were killed in a well-executed ambush, with the building collapsing over the soldiers and their commander. This confirms an event with concealed secrets that the authorities prefer not to disclose. Secondly, information has been withheld from publication. And thirdly, communication was cut off, leaving some severely injured soldiers to die due to the lack of prompt evacuation. There is thus a significant crisis the Israeli army does not wish to highlight or address intensively. Hezbollah, which frequently targets the Israeli forces, has caused significant disruption, including in the 36th Division and its movements during the second phase of the battle. The commander of the 51st Battalion directly led the operation, which brings an added risk, especially since the battalion had suffered a prior setback at Camp 65 near the border. Additionally, there has been extreme difficulty in air medical evacuation. The targeting of buildings, especially when each building is destroyed or booby-trapped, turns these areas into death traps, significantly raising the death toll in the next stage. This has delivered a severe blow to Golani. This has led Netanyahu to sense the extent of the loss, as we are talking about elite forces, the primary brigade in the Israeli army. Although it's not necessarily the top in terms of effectiveness, Golani's heavy losses in this war during the first 45 days, particularly now with Battalion 51, reveal a significant decline in the level of elite infantry forces. Simultaneously, today the 188th Armored Brigade faces issues with fire coverage, which was accompanied by mistakes due to artillery and fire arrangements not being at the necessary level to secure the advancement with proper cover. There are also issues in medical evacuation, which become more challenging as operations deepen, as well as difficulties in fire coverage to retrieve the wounded. The mechanisms are now extremely risky. Helicopter landings, for instance, have become challenging for evacuation at this level. This highlights another critical point. The operations today by the 36th Division are facing severe difficulties due to the high number of casualties within these units. It's also worth noting that the commander of a battalion at only 22 years of age lacks combat experience, raising questions. When Israel relies on reserves, they may have experience but lack the dynamic movement for effective offense. When young, inexperienced commanders are deployed, they may not be able to apply the sophisticated tactics needed against Hezbollah. Consequently, the current level of difficulty has escalated drastically, especially as the Israeli army expands operations without adequate fire cover. For instance, fatal injuries in multiple locations could signify that every seriously wounded soldier in southern Lebanon is effectively a casualty similar to the Gaza conflict, where intense aerial cover led to about 800 critically wounded here. Given the terrain challenges, the number of severely injured could turn into fatalities. This brings us to an important point. Israel's objective of reaching missile systems suggests that prior bombings may not have been effective. The acknowledgement of a need for ground access indicates that there are also counter-strategies from the other side, which will likely increase the losses. More depth in operations and striking the enemy from the rear lines will also mean increased challenges. With confirmation of the additional Fadi-6 surface-to-surface missile, which weighs 650 grams and recently struck Tel Nof Air Base, the possibility of large-scale bombardment across central Israel looms. These attacks have the potential to devastate military factories and bases. Hezbollah's use of anti-tank missiles raises a crucial question. If one missile can kill 6 soldiers, what will happen with advanced, precision-guided missiles? In this confrontation, we are witnessing not only direct engagement but also the precise use of advanced missiles against targets. With the addition of Fadi missiles, including the 302mm and other powerful weapons, Israel is facing capabilities it has yet to fully encounter. For example, anti-tank missiles are now used on the front lines, indicating that Israeli armor, whether deployed or not, could be directly targeted. This has resulted in significant destruction, and the destruction of villages has ultimately turned against Israel. Thank you very much and goodbye.